With the GOP tax scam vote just hours away, public opinion for the bill is even more against it than before. And look, by the time this gets out on YouTube, they may have already passed this tax cut bill. But as far as I can see that, reporting right now, at the time of recording, the House just passed this bill, and it now heads towards the Senate. There's going to be a vote later tonight. So now, how do the American feel about it? People feel about it? Well, they hate it. They despise it, actually. According to a new CNN poll, most Americans believe that this tax bill will benefit wealthy Americans. No kidding. 2/3 of respondents in a new CNN poll say that they think the GOP tax overhaul, expected to be passed this week by the House and the Senate, will be much more beneficial to the wealthy than to the middle class. Along party lines, an overwhelming majority of Democrats, about 95%, said they think that this bill will favor the wealthy, compared to only 27% of Republicans who said that they think the same. And so, again, overwhelming majority of Democrats are like, yeah, this is fairly obvious. It benefits the wealthy. It cuts corporate taxes from 35 to about 21%, and cuts individual rates on the wealthy down to 37%. So, and it also has a lot of loopholes, things like private jets, and other things that would help incredibly wealthy Americans. So, and Democrats look at that and they're like, it's a scam. This is a gigantic transfer of wealth from the poor and the middle class to the rich. Republicans look at it and go, yay, it'll trickle down. So, but this is where we get into alternative facts, right? Again, Republicans will look at this bill and say, I cannot wait for all this wealth to trickle down on me. I would argue that we're already seeing something trickle down, but it ain't wealth, okay? Now, we have evidence that it doesn't trickle down, that it will not trickle down. And actually, again, it does the opposite. It's a gigantic transfer of wealth from everybody to the rich, as if they need it, right? And look, when the rich pay less, we pay more. Yet, of course, the Republicans want to believe it when Fox News tells them that corporations, well, they need this tax cut because they're struggling. They need this tax cut so they can go and create jobs and grow the economy. But no, it's actually not going to work. First of all, the rich are doing amazing. Our companies are actually doing fantastically. Why do they need a tax cut? Well, Jeff, you understand we have the highest tax nation. We're the highest tax country in the world when it comes to our corporate rate. We just can't compete. And if we only cut the corporate rate, we could actually compete and then go create jobs, right? Actually, no. As I said, they want to bring the corporate rate down to about 20 to 21%, right? When you look at what corporations already pay, thanks to the loopholes, we have an effective rate of about 20%. And some corporations pay even less than that. This is why they're posting record profits. That's the reason why. And you want to give them a tax cut while they're still posting record profits and doing amazing. You want to give them a tax cut while they're holding $2 trillion in taxes overseas. I'm sorry, not in taxes, in assets overseas, hiding it from U.S. taxation. And you still want to give them a tax cut. Now, if you know all this stuff and admit all this stuff, and you're still like, hey, but you know what? I still want to give them a tax cut. Well, then you just need to admit that you love income and redistribution. That's what this is. You love redistribution of income from yourself to the rich. Because if you ain't rich, you ain't benefiting. You're basically saying, hey, corporations, here, take my money. Take my money. I don't want it. I'm not going to use it. Poor people don't create jobs, right? Here, take my money so you can create jobs. Well, they're not going to create jobs. They're not going to create jobs. And they've admitted as much. Now, look, again, a lot of people are saying, or are probably going to say, Jeff, this is a tax cut, okay? Like, this is going to help. Trust me, it's going to cut my taxes. I'm going to pay a little bit less because I know we're getting crushed. I understand. But here's the thing. This is temporary. The tax cuts in the poor and the middle class are temporary. The benefits for the poor and middle class are temporary. It's actually not going to help the poor. And do you know, okay, so the working class, right? Again, they're touting this as a tax cut for middle and working class, or at least they did until it became pretty obvious that this was nothing more than a giant tax cut for the rich. You know how much it's going to help the average low-income family? They're going to get a total of $60 in savings. Wow. The average middle-class family, okay, let's talk about that, right? People making between $50,000 and $70,000 a year. What would they get? Around about $960 a year. Okay, but that's a little bit better, I guess. But the top 0.1%, they will get an average of $143,000 in returns. Now, these are the people that already make millions of dollars a year, an average income of $5.1 million a year, but they're going to get $143,000 in returns. That's how much they're going to get back. That's insane. And again, these are temporary, but the corporate rate going from 35 to 21%, that is permanent. And again, if you think that's going to create more jobs, you're wrong. Stephen Mnuchin once sat in a room full of CEOs and asked them, hey, look, if you plan on using this gigantic windfall, right, from us cutting your taxes, are you going to use that for creating jobs and reinvesting in your business? Are you going to do that? Raise your hand. Nobody raised their hand. And he's like, huh, that's weird. It turns out none of you are going to create jobs. Strange. You know why? It's because this does not trickle down. It's not going to trickle down. It never trickles down. What it's going to do, it's going to come from you and go right into the pockets of those CEOs. And not only that, but it's going to the pocket of Donald Trump. 63% of respondents in this poll rightly said that this bill will personally benefit the Trump family. I'll give you an example. There's a loophole in the final that was put into the Senate bill, right? Now, this loophole would benefit LLCs that have depreciable assets, right? Now, these LLCs with these assets, they don't have to create jobs to get a special tax cut on pass-through income. So they can claim this deduction. It's about 20% on this pass-through income, so long as they have depreciable assets, even if they don't have any employees. So you don't have to create jobs to get this enormous tax cut. Now, this is referred to as a Corker kickback, right? We talked about that yesterday. Bob Corker himself, who suddenly said, oh, you know what, I'm going to support this bill, despite not supporting the earlier version that did not have this provision carved in that would benefit him. He would save $1.1 million. Now, guess who else would benefit? I think I already gave it away, but Jared Kushner, he would benefit. He also has real estate in LLCs. And also President Trump, he would also benefit from this tax cut. Now, do you think he'd vote for something that wouldn't benefit him? If you think that, you don't know who Donald Trump really is. Odds are you might think that he's some sort of messiah. He can't do anything wrong. And I've seen that a lot in pro-Trump threads. Yeah, Trump can't do anything wrong. He is the savior. Please. No, my president would never sign anything that would benefit himself. They can't criticize him at all. But Americans, thankfully, most Americans are smarter than that, and they're actually clued in. Among respondents in a Monmouth University poll conducted over a few days before Republicans released the final version of their tax plan, that was last Friday, 53% said that middle-class families have, quote, not at all benefited from Trump's policies, while 25% said a little bit, and 11% said a lot, and the other 11 said they do not know. The rest of the people know, but not Republicans. A majority of them are living in their own world with fake alternative facts. And unfortunately, they're also going to get fucked by this plan. They're the first to get screwed by this plan. And unfortunately for them, and for the rest of us, they're not going to realize it until it's too late. This tax plan is going to be passed. That's exactly what they've wanted to do. It's the only thing that the donors have ever really cared about, and the only thing that the Republican politicians care about. It's going to pass, and we're all going to get screwed. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.